Well,
Kurt's so close to talking over me again. We've got rid of the desync problem from last week, but Kurt's... listen, I can't accuse Kurt of trolling because I'm the whole reason that this episode is like half an hour late. I've got an admission for you guys. I'm sorry. I got really drunk last night on Mezcal. Episode is
my
like
wife was mad at me.
I've got an admission for you guys. I'm sorry. I got really drunk last night on Mezcal. I've got an admission for you guys. I'm sorry. I got really drunk last night on Mezcal.
Start back over again. Start back over again.
The voices. Okay. The voices. All right, I can explain myself. I had the stream open.
Okay. Amazing. At least the viewers were hearing it that time rather than me just looking at it going absolutely insane. Okay. The admission was that I can't accuse anyone else of trolling because I woke up this morning hungover and forgot it was Wednesday. So I just went out Christmas shopping and went to go and see my grandma instead of turning up to Plat chat. So a formal apology from me, and I'm expecting one from Kurt later on.
I'm sorry.
Let's get this episode off the road, shall we? MCE, thank you for joining us. Achilleos as well. Thanks for turning up. Yeah, that's me, by the way.
Bruh. We put you back in the esports filter, and I tried to add some little hood in there.
This does look like what happens when our thumbnails get upscaled.
It's already happened. I was thinking about this, and I was like, I know I'm gonna try to not be the guy that ruins it. The monetization
got us demonetized
instantly.
What did I say?
Should we just close? You said the F word, but should we just close the stream and then start again, and then that way, that will then be monetized?
I have this thought.
Episode.
Like, literally,
we've accomplished nothing. So effectively, we're just wiping the slate clean.
We skip 159. We go straight to episode 160.
We did that one time.
We just
when we were in Istanbul.
Yeah, we completely skipped an episode in Istanbul where we spent an hour ranting about the turret bug. And
it was like,
really
that was like 3 hours. Don't even.
It was crazy. It was crazy. By the way, MC, I love the soul bauble on your tree. Can we get the wide shot of MC again? You're just one red bauble hanging off the tree. That's a lonely guy.
It was in the living room of the house, and then I was like, hey, Dad, do you think Mom will notice if I take the tree? And yeah, it just, I needed it because I'm in an unfinished office, and you missed it. I actually hung the snowman behind myself to start the episode. So
this kind
I have
of
a
looks
hammer.
like...
True. I have a hammer someplace. Oh, it's on the ground.
I mean, it looks like there's some holes in your wall as well. So it looks like
those are screws. Those are screws. It's unfinished drywall.
Ah, okay. You kind of look like, you know, when they tried to spruce up people's jail cells by allowing them to put posters on the walls and stuff like that. You look like you're in the eponymous, like the title of our current video, the contract jail. This is a physical representation
fun
of
fact,
what it looks like.
I'm out of the contract jails.
Okay, there we go. Celebrations. MC, actually, let's start the episode here. Give us an update of what you're up to for anyone who hasn't been keeping track.
I have been MIA trying to find the will to live for the last like 3 months.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that's a very real answer. I was kind of
Merry
hoping
Christmas,
for the,
everyone.
I was kind of hoping for the success story because you've joined a collegiate team, haven't you? But no, you just gave us the wondering where to find the will to live.
No, I just I took some time off to kind of figure out what I was doing and where I wanted to be, and didn't get a lot of interest because everything happened so late, unfortunately. So had a chance to go to APAC actually, and that kind of fell through, and then also was in the running for one of the other teams in EMEA, obviously, but didn't get that. So was looking at, you know, future esports, things like that. And I kind of was like, this is a really good opportunity. Basically, I'm going to have to start from scratch again. So like, I might as well do it in a place that, you know, I can further my career and do other things as well, because I've got like 90 hours or something towards my degree. So being able to finish that, like for no cost is nice. And it's basically like, you know, building a challengers team. It's almost the same thing. You just don't have as much time. So I figured, why not? I'll give it a shot. And then hopefully, like I said, it encourages kids to potentially take that step as well, to show them that like you can compete while still being in collegiate and be successful. And hopefully actually help kids like set up their futures a little better than what has been done in the past.
Okay, well, that's a nice little update on the MCE life. I appreciate that. shall we get into more frivolous activities? Because I'm feeling fairly frivolous right now, and there's a skin that needs to be reviewed. There's a new skin in the game. There's a new gun in the game as well, but we'll get to that later. But the skin line, the Kuronami, Kurt, pull this one up. Pull this one up. Pull it up. What are we looking at here?
Oh,
Okay, so you can garrot someone in the game.
It's a BDSM set.
I mean, that looks like... Okay, I'm thinking of like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, but
Yeah,
sure.
that's exactly
We can
where
go with that
mine
same
went as
thing.
well.
That's the same thing.
Same thing, exactly.
Scorpion, known dominatrix, but
I swear I made a Scorpion reference on another Plat Chat episode, and all you motherfuckers were like, well, probably just Josh, obviously. Josh was like, oh, what are you talking about? I've never heard that in my life. Get over here. What are you talking about?
I literally don't know what you mean. No, I'm just trying to play along and fit in.
you don't know Mortal Kombat.
No.
You've
Is that the
never
one where
seen-
people shout, finish him?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So it's right. So that that perfectly fits.
You
in with
have to
BDSM
have
stuff, though,
a
doesn't it?
bad. You have to have a bad movie night with Beth and watch the original like 1990s Mortal Kombat movie. It's
It's
fucking
not a bad
amazing.
movie. It's a good movie.
The first one's actually okay, but the second
problem with
one
you,
is
Seth,
truly
is that you give me movie recommendations and you like good movies, so sometimes your recommendations are fantastic. But you also like terrible movies, which means that sometimes the recommendations are deliberately atrocious, and I don't know which
That's why
one
I
this
said
falls
a
into.
bad movie night.
But
Right.
also, you ironically like think bad movies are good sometimes.
Like what?
Like unironically think. I don't know. Like
All right, do we just
Tremors.
derail the show?
Yes,
This is a
entirely.
movie
instantly.
podcast
Like,
now.
okay, has
Fuck the
anybody ever
Kuronami. Let's
seen
get to
the
the root of
movie
this.
Rubber? Has anybody ever seen the movie Rubber?
Again,
Flubber.
fits with the BDSM thing.
Again, yeah, it fits in
Yes.
with the theme. No, Rubber.
Rubber. It's a movie
Yes.
about a stray
Please,
tire that
can
goes
we
around and kills
actually-
people.
Yeah, it's a homicidal maniac, and the trailer makes it look like it would be a pretty funny movie. That is by far the worst fucking movie I've ever seen next to Spanglish.
Okay. I don't even know what movies you're talking about right now, but
Spanglish is like the first movie Adam Sandler was in that he was like a serious person and not funny back in like the early 2000s. So me
has
as a
Adam
kid,
Sandler
me
done
and my
funny
friends,
movies as well?
Yes, yeah, actually. I mean, your humor's a little different over across the seas.
Was
but,
Spanglish before Punch
you know,
Drunk
here,
Love?
I don't know, but it was the first non-serious
Drunk
movie
Love was
I ever
first.
saw him do. So
Right.
I
So
went
anyway,
in
guys,
thinking it was a comedy, and it was terrible.
Oh, okay. Kuronami, huh?
Yeah. This is the actual gameplay from Valorant when you use the skins.
Do you like the idea of it? Have we got any animations actually of what it looks like when it's in the game?
Wait, there's a
We're
finisher.
looking
No, 'cause I
at
think
it,
it was-
Josh.
It was just
That's
leaked.
it.
Wait,
This is it.
and
It was
the
just
name is
leaked, so-
Kuronami. It doesn't Konami make Mortal Kombat?
Oh,
Maybe.
Oh, there's gonna be.
Yeah,
a
we're
leak of
looking
that.
So
at
is the
some
finisher
lawsuits.
about to be like crazy?
I don't know,
Is there an
probably.
animation of the
It's gonna be
finisher, or are we
disgusting.
just speculating?
There's no video as far as I know. There's just this.
I've
I
never heard
hope
about
it's
this
the
scheme.
exact same.
No.
No,
I
not
hope
the,
it's the
not
exact
the Mortal
same.
Kombat finisher, Kurt. I'm talking about the gun finisher, man.
I know.
Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat
but-
is Midway, right?
Yeah,
Not Konami.
I have no idea, mate.
I just
you
made
are-
that up.
Who knows? Anyway, Copo Drop. Are you liking it?
Sorry, I'm being a pedant. Sorry. It looks neat. I mean, I might buy
I will
this.
not be
Knives on a
purchasing
chain.
this.
Of course, bro. I'm into this shit. Let's go. Cop.
I haven't bought a skin in probably other than the Champions bundle, which doesn't count. But I haven't really bought like a skin set for probably about a year and a half. So I'd probably buy this. What is the what are the other ones? Is it just a knife? What are the other ones?
No, there's a Vandal in there. as
Surely
well,
there's
isn't
other
there?
ones.
Yeah.
It looks like a Reaver. Cop. Again.
Well,
And
I wouldn't
cop.
use the
there's
Vandal,
color
but I like
variants.
the look of it.
okay, I'm not copping. You ain't getting me with any of those monetary transactions without something absurd going on. But it looks fairly good. It looks fairly good. I feel like in terms of things added to the game recently, though, the skin set is certainly not the thing that people have been most excited about, though. It's this damned outlaw sniper that people have been talking about for months at this point, which got leaked. Genuinely, it must have been like 4 months ago or something when they were releasing a skin set. I don't know, back in September or October.
I think it was right after Champions.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago though. But it seems like a lot of people had figured it was like maybe faked or something because there'd just been nothing coming out about it for ages. But here it is. This is a leak from Valor Leaks, which is doubling down on the same thing that basically came out a while back ago, saying a brand new weapon is going to be releasing at the launch of Episode 8. Now, does anyone know when Episode 8 is? Because I don't really understand this stuff.
And early January, like first week of January, something like that.
Right, I'm going to guess it's a week and a half before the Madrid qualifiers.
Do you assume that it'll just get banned? Normally they take a while before adding new agents into the game, but we've never had a new weapon in the game.
Okay, so what is the maps and patches? What is it, like 2 weeks? 2 weeks
yeah.
for a patch, and then 3 weeks or 4 weeks for a map is the requirement. So like I could easily see them dropping this to start the year and making sure that like you have to play the Madrid qualifiers on it, because that's like typical fashion of a lot of the other, you know, like they threw in Pearl for champs, I think Fracture as well, the one before, or one of the qualifiers, that I could very easily see them being like, okay, we're just going to throw a wrench in everything. We can't let Fnatic win all of 2024. Like, let's give other regions a chance. And they just put this patch out.
Mm.
Do we have the... Sorry, do we have the one, like the original leak where it had the image of the gun and everything?
I sent you in the message, Kurt.
Is it Valorant updated? Is it that?
Yeah,
that tweet. Yeah, so this one had more info about the gun as well, which, I mean, it looks fairly valid.
Oh, broken.
Yeah, so to go through it for any audio listeners, it costs 2,400, which is like just more than the Guardian, right? Because the Guardian's like 20. Yep. Dude, I don't even know. I never buy the Guardian. Right, so 2250. So it's only a little bit more than that. Fires 2 bullets at a time like a shorty. What? Kills what?
That's
kills half-armored enemies with a single shot. So that was the big speculation that people had about this. And then body damage around 140, which is really high compared, you know, in order to kill half-armored enemies, it would only have to do 125 or 126. And will debut with non-animated skins, which I don't know why that's a relevant thing to add in there, but I appreciate that anyway. Can we start at the top though? What does fires 2 bullets at a time like a shorty mean? A shorty doesn't fire 2 bullets at a time.
You can probably shoot it really quickly after each other, or like the devs forgot that you can't like right click and shoot both at once. I mean, is this not just the Blaze from DayZ, Josh?
The Blaze from DayZ. I've been playing a lot of DayZ and I don't know what the Blaze is.
Oh, it might be unmodded then. It's a double shot rifle. But I literally looked at this when it first came out and I was like, okay, somebody's been playing way too much DayZ. And I was like, this is literally the Blaze. It's a 2-shot. You can shoot it single, or you change the fire configuration to shoot both at the same time.
But it can only so it can only be loaded with 2 rounds at once.
Yes, and then you have to.
So that's
reload.
basically what it means: is that you can fire the gun twice and then you have to reload it.
Oh, so dude, I was thinking
it's not that it sends
bullets.
2. It's not 2 bullets coming out of the barrel.
I thought the person writing that description had never used the shorty before and thought that it shot 2 bullets when you clicked fire with the shorty.
Yeah,
it means it has two barrels on the shorty.
It's a 2-bullet load.
What are you guys talking about? What does this gun do?
Okay, so you know when you get the shorty in Valorant and you hide around a corner and you go boom boom, and then you have to like
you can do that with this gun.
Reload. Now you have to do the same with this. You go like this, Bala. You go boom boom.
So wait, body damage does 140. So wait, does those 2 bullets kill in one shot?
There's no way it has to shoot both bullets at once to do 140. It is. I refuse to believe.
That's what I'm saying.
I refuse to believe they gave a gun 2 bullets that can shoot like the shorty that does 140 damage each bullet. Like, I refuse to believe.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And why is this guy writing it like that? Because that just like
it is weird.
It's very weird.
Okay, so can we bring the tweet up again to have a look at it though? Because it is supposed to be better than it's supposed to be a lot better than the Marshall, which does 101.
Info via Valohaber CC. Maybe he wrote it better.
I'll scroll through all of his tweets.
He literally did.
Profile picture is Phoenix walking away from a burning building.
This is like a Gmod. This is Gmod.
That's so funny.
Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus.
Right. Okay. Farming followers, love it. That always reliable data from people who love having clout on the internet.
Up there it
Right.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
Clip capacity should be 2 bullets.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is
It's-
exactly the same. Okay, cool.
A muscular marshal.
I went to school with Muscular Marshall, I think.
No, it's got to be you shoot to like you can either single shot it like a marshal, or the only option is you have to shoot both bullets and it has a long reload time.
Wasn't there some speculation originally that this could shoot as a rifle and a shotgun? Something weird like that? I assume that's
yeah, but
not
I think
the
that was
case.
just speculation.
I
right?
heard
Right.
some shit about that. My guess would be that this gun can only fire when scoped. So you can't
Okay,
do
I
like
mean-
hip fire shit.
Yeah, the
You
marshal
have to
shit's
do
broken.
you have to do a 360 before you scope.
Yeah. I would guess that maybe there's no hip fire on the gun at all, so you have to scope in. I think that would be an interesting mechanic to introduce to this weapon, and it would help justify the high cost, because then if you're point blank with somebody, you have to scope in on them, but also the high damage on it. I'm curious about the reloading, because one of the things that I think would be cool is if you could reload it while scoped in, since it's 2 shots. Because I'm assuming it's just 2 bullets fed into the side of the gun. So you should, in theory, be able to fire twice and then just spread the bullets into the
I'm
chamber.
sorry, I'm losing
Go
my
back to
fucking
the
mind.
picture.
Why do we need a new gun in the game, man? Like, are we like missing the fucking point? Like,
I'm
what's
not
going
saying
on
that we
here?
is
need a
how
new
we
gun in the
keep
game,
the
but there is one,
engagement.
so I'm just saying.
This is
hey.
how we keep the engagement.
They want some
I
kind
think
of
it would
nerf
be
to
neat.
light armor, but
We're not fucking attack shooter sims, bro. Like this is not. Maybe Mimi is. Maybe you guys are in your DayZ, but we don't need new guns, man. We don't need new age. We don't need anything. Just play the game. I don't want more like they're gonna add more shotguns later, bro. They're gonna add more SMGs and shit. Like, please, no, don't
Maybe.
start this. No.
I mean, they might add more guns if they think there's a niche for
They're
them.
already milking us for $70 a bundle, man. We don't need more.
Well, see, but that's what I'm saying. Is like a niche for it, and that would be a type of gun that doesn't exist. One that you cannot hip fire, and one that you can reload while scoped in. That would be more unique than, and it would separate it from the other guns. So that's why
What's
I'm
the point
saying.
of
Like, I
what's
wonder
the
if
point
that's
of
a thing.
reloading while scoped in? That's just like using binoculars or something.
That's a game right there.
You don't have to unscoped in order to do it.
I guess.
like-
I guess. All right.
Like,
What do you think?
Can't
what do you
Ash
think
in
the actual-
Overwatch fucking like reload when she scoped in? Or am I misremembering?
Dude, I
It would kinda be like
remember.
that.
It's been a long time, maybe.
Oh.
Who plays Overwatch?
I want to ask you guys what the impact on the meta is going to be. What do you think? Is this going to incentivize people to buy less light armor? Are people
says you
actually
can't.
going to buy
Whoops.
this weapon if you think that your opponents are going to be running light armor? Is it going to make a bloody difference?
Well, according to my calculations, because the gun does 140 damage here, we're going to be able to 2 bullets are going to be able to actually
Great
affect the meta
anti-eco
by
weapon.
actually using the fanatic strat, and I think actually it'll be in the meta. I don't know, Josh. I don't know what the gun does, man. What are you talking about?
That's
What are
true.
you
This
talking
weapon,
about?
this
Go back
weapon
to the
does,
picture. Go back. That's all we need. Let's
This
just
weapon does exist
wildly
to
speculate
completely fuck
how
the
this
Fnatic
is going
vibe.
to completely change the meta based on a picture and a word that is described as a muscular marshal, and be like, okay, yeah, this is going to completely change the way that this map is played because this. It's like, no, I agree. We have no idea what's happening. Like, it could be you shoot this twice and then like the gun breaks and you can't use it anymore. Like, you get 2
No, it couldn't
bullets
be.
and that's it.
No, it couldn't be. I mean, no, they would not introduce that into the game.
Why
Are you
not?
sure? Are you sure about that?
You need to repair. This game just becomes DayZ and you're looking around for gun cleaning kits in garage.
It takes you. It's a 10-second channel to dismantle the entire thing, clean the parts, and then put them back
You
together.
gotta
before
clean.
You can
It's like
fire
a
again.
musket. You gotta
You got to find a
pack
workbench to go
the
use.
powder with everything. Just
Yeah.
Okay,
That would be
so
sick.
basically this entire segment has just come down to we don't have any information, we refuse to speculate, but we're going to mock it relentlessly and say that it's the downfall of the game because they're adding weapons in. Have I summed
I
up
don't
all
think
of
it's
your
a downfall
opinions?
at all.
Correct.
yes.
I don't think it's a downfall, but I'm excited to use it just because I like snipers. So I'm just curious to see if I'm correct in.
You are
Part of the problem.
That's fine.
You already have an op, Achilles. What do you mean? That's the only
And a
expensive.
marshal, and if
What do
you
you want,
really
an
want to
auto-scope?
scope, there's a fucking agent that you can zoom in with a pistol with. Like, how many more zoom things do you need?
Sounds cool to me as well, Seth. I don't know.
All of them.
All right.
I want every
speaking
weapon
about
to
wild
zoom.
speculation and things that we don't know anything about. Let's talk about football is taking down Vitality.
Wow, he's just moving us along. I like it. I like it. Did you guys all get to watch Convergence?
A couple games, yeah.
Yes.
Well, there was only a couple games, so yeah, I watched.
Yeah, there weren't that many games. This final was bizarre, though. It was certainly a weird one. I favored Vitality going into it. I thought they had better ideas than Foot overall. But if you just look at the maps and how they went down, the final two maps.
It was insane.
Just click on
Not
VLR
even-
and look at the
no,
final two.
You
All
can
of them,
start
all of them.
from the
Oh, sure, yeah,
beginning,
all of them.
Josh.
From the beginning is fine.
From the beginning. Let's see. Like, I chalk this up to a little bit of just inexperience because Vitality does have a couple, fairly fresh players in the league with runner and kicks that, like, it's a new team. You're playing against, a minimal change footballist who was one of the top teams in EMEA. But, like, Vitality looked so good, but it's like the classic Billy that they, like, practice really hard on one side of the map, but they haven't had the time to do the other yet. So they come out and they're like, this is the best team in the world. They switch halves and they're like, holy shit, like we have to plug in our mouse, our steering wheel. Like, how do we play this game? And they just fell apart.
Yeah, it was a tragedy to watch. They're up 10-2 and they threw it away. Oh, and then the next map, what were they up as well? I can't.
Well, at one
remember.
point it was 7-0.
Oh, that was-
and then
yeah, that was
the
the
second
third
map
one.
was 10-0,
11?
I believe.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah,
So-
7-0 and 10-0 leads that they ended up losing.
I mean, these are the
11-2.
kind of games that make you break your fucking desk if you're playing ranked at home. Like if you're just playing online, not even in a tournament that has an audience in front of you that thousands of people watching internationally, judging your entire year off of it. Like this is a game that if you just play it in ranked, you want to just commit murder because you're so pissed that you blew a lead this bad.
I wanted to commit murder doing the co-stream of it. It's a good job there weren't any humans around because my chat, when it got to 11-3 on Lotus, everyone's like, it's going to be the lock-in comeback, 11-3, 11-3. And I was so bored of that joke. Oh, I'm bored of it. So I was shutting them down left, right, and center. It's not going to be a comeback. Shut the hell up. And then I'm just have to sit there and stew as they lose every single round on defense side. Horrendous. I actually, though, came away from it thinking that Vitality would win this rematch later on in the year when they've had a bit more time together. I think that Foot have really good individual players, and they were very opportunistic in punishing Vitality for the holes that they had on the defense side. But it wasn't like the entire defense side was dog shit. I thought that Vitality just had like a couple massive holes in each of their maps on defense. It doesn't take a lot to just lose repeatedly. It just takes the fact that you can't hold one area of the map at all.
Yeah, and as a new team, I think defense is one of the harder things to have down immediately, because it's like you're requiring the knowledge with prior teammates to be able to hold sides down. That like the reactions, the quick ideas and things like as you play together more become easier and easier.
Would you agree that it's a sensible conclusion to assume, if you bring up the VLR page again, Kurt, for Lotus, that it was a comp diff, that the single KO initiator on Lotus is simply superior, and this was proven during this map. And on attack side in particular, the KO as a solo initiator is an excellent pick.
I mean, attack side is like this map is really strong attack sided anyways. It's very hard to hold. I think the KO is really, really good on this map actually. Because we looked at how football is played on Cloud9. I think people actually call a wall the Cloud9 wall, and it was not our wall, which I think is hilarious. It was footballist. But they had really good ideas with the KO, and there's a lot of knives that like you can throw over the top of B to completely get the backside of B where everyone plays to shut it down. But like attack side, you're knifing. You can't break like half these knives because it's like you can't put yourself in that bad of a spot. And you know, it's just they make it look really good, but I think part of that is just Qrax is insane on KO. Like,
yeah,
I think that's a huge reason they look so good. Do I think it's
annoying.
comp
Other
diff?
teams
No.
would do it.
Do I think if they had more time and like better ideas on defense, I think they win? Yes. But like, please God, don't start playing KO on the map. Like, just don't do it. I think Omen is a little bit potentially outdated now because the speed of the flash, the reason why we used Omen at the beginning was the paranoia for A fights is just too strong. But now you can pretty much beat the paranoia out almost. So it's like not as effective. It's still really, really good. But I would expect Astra to come back in a little more than Omen now, potentially.
I think we actually got a little bit of that. Maybe it was during the Africa tournament, but I feel like we had Lotus maps where Astra was being played a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, there've been a few
It was
teams
more
that
meta
played a lot of
before,
it.
and then
No.
it just keeps
Yeah,
waning.
yeah,
But they
yeah.
both got nerfed at the same time, so I think teams right now are still in the kind of
Just
like
figuring out, like,
mid-decision
which one.
fade where it's like, which one do I run? Because I think meta at champs, despite other than Fnatic, was everybody going to Omen, DRX. Like every team that was like trying to copy the Fnatic comp
Well,
was
Navi,
running
yeah,
Omen
yeah.
instead. Yeah.
The pressure on the Vitality players, though, I don't think completely covered up the fact that these new players are very talented. I
so
still
good.
came away with an impression that Runner and Kicks are really good pickups during this offseason. Even if the inexperience, I think actually the inexperience of the entire team and the calling and how even, you know, the people who have some of the most experience here, Sender, Destrian, Sender was IGLing. He doesn't have a ton of experience doing that. And yeah, my point being that I don't think it was a lot to do with Runner and Kicks in particular choking in this final. And I actually thought that they played really well. I think they were some of the best pickups I've seen recently.
Yeah. I mean, I was so impressed with Runner. The way that guy's able to like play while he's entering, while like going on crazy satchel paths or dashes. Like he is so on top of it and constantly finding kills where I'm like, there's no way you should be finding anything there. And it's very impressive. And then Kicks as well, like multiple clutches to save games, like to end games in certain situations too. It was very nice. And on top of that, doing all that while, like, I mean, they've had time. People always talk about how there's no time in the off season to practice or whatever, but like they've had time now to cook stuff up. But they had a lot of really nice, like coordination on the set pieces that they did come up with. Like,
Yeah,
the
they have
execution
some
that
great
we
set
were-
pieces.
Were really actually probably the best in the tournament, maybe outside of like Gen.G. Because one of the reasons why I hate watching foot is like they never bring any of that stuff out. They always just play like very, very basic stuff.
I really liked Mr. Fallen's mid-rounding in this tournament, though. I thought his attack side
sure.
calling was really nice, but you're right, it's not set stuff. It's just based off him being
Have you
able
seen
to...
their retakes though? Like they have very good retakes and set things with the KO. Like they have reasons that they're running it. Or it's like, you know, they have
I'm not claiming
different
that at all.
mollies for different things and whatever. So like they do have set things. Like I think we're just blowing over that.
I
Like,
think
do
it's
they
more
play a
so
loose
the-
style? Yes, but like they also have very good ideas behind a lot of their stuff.
They don't tend to do aggressive things at the start of the round to put their opponents in a rough position. I think that's more what
Yes.
we were talking about,
it's-
where Vitality have like a whole set piece on their attack side. I think Foot's attack side doesn't tend to have as many set plans to it, other than we are going to be taking this map control and then
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think Foot has
working
great
with it
understanding
afterwards.
of a lot of the stuff like that they can do, and they find themselves in positions where they're actively like using like the knowledge of what is good in these positions, what protocols are good in these positions. But I don't see them like come up with, you know, any overarching calls that like try to counteract, like one execute that tries to counteract the way that the other team is playing or anything like that, or just like a full out hit that is really hard to defend against, something like that. They don't have, or they don't use those as much as I think they should, because I think a lot of these guys are perfect at being able to actually collapse on some of those things.
I'll tell you what, too. CNET is so damn fast with the way that he tries to punish people. He often gets caught out himself trying to make plays like this, but you could see that as soon as Vitality gave him any entrance into a position, he's immediately jumping onto it to try to capitalize. which means that he's a really dangerous player to go up against if you're feeling a bit shaky or if you leave a couple of holes in your game, because he's just going to try to hammer them open. He was a nightmare out there. He was fragging really well. And I thought that his raise looked okay too, even though his movement seems like he's trying to Fosbury flop everywhere every time he uses a satchel.
Yeah. I think that's still something that needs a little bit of work. But I mean, again, and I was saying this back at like home ground, one of the biggest things for me at Foot, and it's similar to, you know, like Runner and whatnot, the new addition, like Gen.G continues to just look astounding. A couple of rough beginnings to some of the maps in this series, but then as soon as he like started fragging, it just didn't stop, and the guy just continued to look incredible. And he, I think, has just been maybe even a bigger pickup for the team compared to CNET, and just in off-season events that I've seen so far. I think that he's right up there with him, and already just being so young and being, you know, new to the squad, to kind of be put on the same mantle is already such a huge thing for him. So I'm really looking forward to further development with him, because he's just had a fantastic start.
It's so weird that they put him on Omen on Lotus. He had a really rough game the first time he played it, and I was really impressed in the finals, actually, that he played a ton better, because I thought they would have to end up swapping that back around. It is weird seeing Mr. Fallen play the Killjoy in that map, but it's ended up working all right for them. I think Gen.G is a big upgrade over Moj. I think that's a good move for the team. I think that Foot have actually made 2 good roster moves in this offseason.
Sure.
And to be honest, EMEA haters, I think, are going to be shambling. Like, this is an all EMEA final. Sure, there weren't a huge amount of other teams present, but I'm getting a bit of hopium about EMEA. The middle of the pack looks competitive and fairly competent.
Yeah, but Superdome Columbia didn't even have an EU team make playoffs. So, like, I'm not that worried.
Superdome Columbia? Who was playing in Superdome Columbia?
There was no EMEA teams, bro.
Who was?
How are you taking this?
Dude, I can't even remember. Dude, that tournament was fucking over a month ago. It was 5-6 weeks ago. That reference just completely flew over my head. I couldn't even remember it.
I don't think Josh was on that episode, right? Because that was where, yes, I watch all the Plat Chat episodes. This is where Wyatt said, like, I would love some Superdome right in the entry of the episode starting.
That was the intro. Dude. It was the intro.
Oh my, dude, we're talking. Yo, bro, Wyatt, I know it's your birthday, yo, what's up, bro? Call me up.
Damn, ball is offering. Fucking answer that phone.
How do you guys feel about EMEA though? Do you think it's going to be a good year for the region?
Yes.
Who cares about regions? Like, why does everyone care? Like, it's fun to joke about. It's fun to joke about, but like, who actually cares? Like, just there's good teams from every region at this point. Like, does it really matter like who gets to be the best? Like, do I get to shut talk everyone because NA won a, you know, another world championship with, you know, South North America? But like, the Americas League has done well this year, but it was like we forgot about the whole first part of the year because fuck EMEA. Like, that part doesn't matter. It was just like Mickey Mouse after Mickey Mouse, you know, like none of it mattered at the beginning.
Unbelievable.
But like, no, I think EMEA is going to have a really strong year. I think the first year of franchising, a lot of people were making decisions that should have been making decisions, and there were a lot of just shit rosters, to be completely honest. And now you're looking at them actually make good changes. Like, most of EMEA made good changes. So it's not going to be like one really top heavy team again. Like, the top 6 teams in EMEA, I think, are going to be really good this year.
Yeah, I think it's got some
mostly
talent.
agree with that.
Comic also played the good match against Heretics. They looked all right.
Yeah, seeing Liquid at Africa TV was like super fucking encouraging. Yampi having a tournament of his life. Hopefully that maintains and he can carry that through. I am inclined to agree. I think that it's going to be a really competitive year for EMEA.
Have I missed something? What is Giant X?
That's Giants merged with XL.
Oh, when did that happen?
Like a week ago.
Oh, is that relevant in any way?
Yeah, you guys it's more for the cover it on the podcast and didn't make the run of show, so no.
It's more so that Giants like gets to play in the LEC, and then XL also gets into V. Like, it's just like one of those weird strategic whatever.
Okay. Like a joint thing. It's like Crazy Raccoon and DFM kind of.
Yeah,
Almost.
like
Except
moist
not
X
really.
Not at
Shopify.
all, I think.
but not at all. The more that I started that sentence and I was like, it's not this, but I'm just gonna commit to it.
He had to bring APAC into the conversation somehow.
Yeah, I felt underrepresented. You know, I just.
Well, do you want to talk APAC? Global Esports were playing with a sub at this tournament, and they actually managed to beat FURIA, which I didn't even watch this game because I thought Global are playing with 4 of their regular players. They're not playing with Benkai. And this match didn't actually matter for the tournament results anyway. Neither of them could make the grand finals. So I just skipped over it, thinking, FURIA will just roll them. And then they didn't at all, despite MW pounding. So how do you interpret this result?
Blaze King is really good at the video game.
Yeah, Blaze King's kind of the truth. Man's pretty fucking good at the game. But overall, I mean, I'm still just left being curious because I want to know what this team does look like with Benkai, because I think that he has so much more to still prove because we just haven't seen him in forever. When the last time that we did see him, we saw Paper X struggling. I'm curious to see how fired up he's going to be and what kind of impact and differences we see between this iteration of the team in an off-season tournament versus him being in the main roster, you know, suspected to be IGLing and everything. Controlling things going into VCT Pacific, and I really just don't know what that's going to look like. I'm hoping for the best because obviously I want every team to do well. I want, you know, everything to be competitive. And at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck who wins. I just want for the region overall to look strong. And I feel
You're
like
the person that cares about the regions. When MC was asking earlier, who cares about the regions? You care.
Well,
about
I mean,
the regions.
I care about my region to just be overall strong.
Is it because it's better than the rest of our regions?
No, we don't have a fucking trophy.
You
Yeah,
do
true.
though. You guys just won.
We
one.
have a VCT Pacific trophy, but like,
Yeah, we don't have that.
What? We don't have a
But
VCT
you know what I mean.
Americas trophy?
No, we
What?
don't. No,
we don't have a
team is
VCT.
one.
How could an Americas team win the Pacific Trophy, Matt? You're trolling me into circles. I'm getting tied into a knot. Okay.
But anyway.
To bring it back to the Global
Josh,
Fury game.
North America also doesn't have an America's trophy. Like,
No, North America doesn't. No, you're right.
okay.
Yeah. I'm getting pretzeled out here. My brain's getting pretzeled by these two. Right. Global versus FURIA. I was just flicking through it now. Again, I haven't really watched the game. FURIA had 9 more first kills on Sunset and still lost the map. Then FURIA had 4 more first kills on Breeze and barely won. And then they again had 2 more first kills than them on Haven and lost. I mean, how the hell are they not being able to convert some of those, especially on the first map? They had 9 more first kills and they lost. That's crazy.
That's a horrible sign, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
It's not
there's
good.
few times that those sorts of things happen, and a lot of times the teams end up like being hyped and then like just being awful throughout the season.
Is
And-
FURIA really that hyped though? Right.
No. I'm not saying that. But
I think the Brazilian fans are pretty excited about this team, though. This, you know, especially with MW cooking people. I think
yeah,
maybe
I
not
guess
in the
people are
English
excited
speaking
about
community.
the duelist return for MW, but
Yeah.
like I think things like this to me show exactly what I was afraid of with Furia, where it's MW's team and he kind of like tries to build the team around what he thinks, and they're not really using the coaching structure, which just got added, I believe, a couple weeks ago. I might be speaking out my ass there, but like it's built around MW, and this ends up being just one of those player-run teams, and especially with MW, who doesn't have a like great track record. Like, yeah, he makes himself look good, but his teams look ass every time. Like, ever since Game Lenders, like way back when, and even then, that was everybody was doing the same thing as MW. So like he was actually able to be competitive. Here, like I don't like this at all. There's only like one bright spot, and that's Khalil and whoever's playing Cypher on Furia right now, or Sova on Furia right now. They like play pretty well together, but everybody else is disjointed as fuck, like really bad.
You mentioned the coaching structure. Who even is the coaching structure? Because I was
It's two
glancing.
people I haven't-
Bazooka and
yeah.
Fraud. No, oh no, that's MIBR.
That's MMBR.
Yeah, that's MIBR.
Whoopsies.
Because I was looking around and like before the
Yeah, those
episode
guys
went live. I was looking around before the episode went live, and I saw that, like on VLR they just have like one guy.
They have a head coach and an assistant coach, and again,
Well,
I think they recently
okay.
added.
Yeah, I believe
so
the
then
way
he's
that
not,
this,
they're not listed yet. Because I was
I
going to say, I
believe
was
the
like,
way
is
that
this
this
just a
roster was
Mike
formed.
situation where it's like one dude trying to like just engineer everything?
It certainly could be. I mean, I think the way that the roster was formed this year was that they basically, there was a split internally within the team, and they decided to go with MW. So they allowed MW to build a team that you know, maybe he didn't get the perfect roster he wanted, but they allowed him a lot of say in how they formatted the team. And I think that also included a change in terms of the coaching staff too. So they're still really trying to build everything back up to a good point.
Yeah,
but I don't know
think
what. Yeah.
Evidence to me here, like compare how Vitality is playing, for example, and obviously that team didn't like change as much, but also like they
Changed
have
a lot.
Yeah, actually safe. Yeah, three fucking players.
It's 3
And
players.
safe isn't on
Okay, so it's
duelist.
actually like pretty comparable then here. Where the coaching staff, like when you watch the game, like you could see a lot of influence. Like there's mad structure, there's like really creative set plays, there's like specific players like constantly doing the same thing. Like it feels like there's study gone into it. Whereas I watch FURIA and I don't know what they've been working on. All I know is MW's been working on his aim because that dude is crazy. But everybody else is like kind of feels like they're all playing by themselves, other than the Soap and the Cypher. Like the Otzi and Havoc were very unimpressive.
They also don't have very much experience. They're both tier 2 players that have just come up to the tier 1 scene, right? Liazi and Havoc, I believe.
Well, in that case, like the focus should be on like trying to help them
Enable
play.
them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like try to get them involved. Like there's nothing here.
Yeah. What do
I
you think
rarely
about
find
Global's
it-
side though?
Oh.
Just
I was
to
going to say,
pivot the
I really
focus just a
find it
little.
where the no help meme really kind of has like an actual foundation. It kind of felt that way with MW in this matchup. But for Global, I mean, I was very pleasantly surprised. I mean, again, Blaze King, he was a bit of a known quantity coming into this one. I was unfamiliar with some of the other players. I mean, obviously, like, you know, Lightning Fast and everything I was aware of, but Polvi, I wasn't sure what to expect for him coming in to play this
Polvi was
matchup.
good.
And he was really good. I was very shocked. I mean, again, like that opening matchup, some struggles initially, and I was like, you know, is this just going to be a tournament where unfortunately they go out without picking up a win or anything like that? And then he just found his footing, and it kind of clicked, and it looked really, really good. It was kind of similar, like a rough start to like Yeta J for Foot, and then once Polvi started fragging, it just didn't really stop. Russ as well, looking really good throughout this. You know, they only played what, like 3 matches, but overall, like, I think that there's a very solid foundation for the team to build off of. I'm just not sure how it's going to look moving forward, and I'm hoping that it's just going to be even more improved once Benkai comes into the roster.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the hope, is that Benkai, now that he doesn't have to IGL, is suddenly a fragging warrior as well. But in theory, he might improve this team quite a bit. I mean, I only watched the global game against Vitality because, again, it was the only one that ended up mattering for the results of the tournament. And I wasn't particularly impressed with anybody apart from Polvi. I thought Polvi played really well and looked like he had a lot of promise. And the rest of them, I think Russ's calling style was trying to introduce a lot of chaos into the game, especially on Breeze, where they put up a bit more of a fight against Vitality. They managed to take 6, you know, decent rounds against them on Global's defense side by pushing a lot on defense and finding a lot of holes in Vitality's setups. I'm not sure that high risk, high reward playstyle is going to get them a lot of kills, a lot of wins in APAC, though. That's my concern, because I think the way to be able to get wins in APAC is to play really solidly and have a good system rather than trying to play like the underdog.
I feel bad for both Global and FURIA because motherfuckers like played one game that mattered. Like,
yeah, traveling all the way to India and playing.
Vitality
one
played
game.
the first 2 games in their group, won the first 2, and then the last game just like doesn't matter because Vitality's already through and they're already out. So it's just like,
I mean, honestly, I was shocked when I found out that FURIA was going to Convergence when they first announced the teams, just because of the distance alone. So
Yeah.
I was really impressed that they were.
It's like
deciding to go
minimum
out.
20-hour flight. Minimum.
that's crazy.
I mean, yeah, I'm having gone to Sao Paulo from Asia. I can tell you, it is not an easy journey whatsoever. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool to see both teams. I think that like you know, my initial reaction with GE versus Vitality was just like, oh, good God, it's going to be a tragedy, even with Benkai coming in. Like, I think that this is going to just be a really rough season. And I think that, you know, there's going to be the people saying, like, why did we change anything? Like, things were actually good. And like, if we continue to develop this and blah, 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 from 2023, it could have been really solid. And then we got into the second series, and I was like, okay, there is a solid amount of hope here. I think that there's a solid foundation. It could have very well have just been, you know, we're debuting this roster on LAN in front of the, you know, the home crowd here, given it's a, you know, India-based organization. So there comes a lot of additional pressure behind that, and they had some jitters. That's kind of like what I have in my head, I guess, as far as the opening performance. That and Vitality is just also a very good team. But I'm hoping that we see continued growth from them going into 2024.
I do want to, you know, I wish that Chobra was here actually, because we were arguing with him about Gen.G. No. I mean, why do you assume that we would replace you with Chobra? What if we replaced Bala or MCE with Chobra? You know,
we don't just need one token APAC. Yeah, it is the token APAC. But anyway,
listen,
go ahead.
I was the only one on the show that was a part of Gen.G, okay? I think I'm the expert on this.
Okay, right. Yeah. You were big on this team. Yeah. So I want to talk about Gen.G because I thought when they played against True Rippers, they looked absolutely abhorrent. I thought True Rippers looked pretty good on Haven in particular. And I didn't mind what I was watching there from that squad, which is impressive considering they were the team that came out of open qualifiers in a region that hasn't really done much globally. But my God, was I mauled in at what Gen.G were up to on Haven. And then they come in the next game against Foot, and they're still doing really what I think are suboptimal setups, really suboptimal. And yet they crushed Foot. Ada Captain didn't have his mouse plugged in. It was just a bizarre tournament from Gen.G overall. What were you left with the impressions from this team?
I only watched the Foot game, and I was quite happy. Like, for a team that I was like kind of in the dumps with, like I wasn't expecting anything. I thought they were gonna be kind of ass. Like, the one thing that they did really, really well was set up texture to diff CNET, and he did that.
Yeah,
like almost every single map, it felt like he was finding value against him. And what they were doing was they were constantly doing like weird feints to make it look like the op's not there, and then he is there, and then like he's just constantly late peeking stuff, which was nice, flashing him on angles at the beginning of the rounds. So like that element of it was impressive to me. And then on top of it too, Lockgale was not like as bad of a form as I expected him. Munchkin, who's IGLing for this team, by the way? I have no clue. Munchkin was playing pretty decent. Like, for all the shit we give him on this show, like he continues to like have decent individual performances and also have a style to his calling too, which I am a fan of in general, not in terms of mid-rounding, but the way that he's able to set up his teams on like some of the really fast stuff. But I didn't watch the True Rippers game, so that would give me a different impression then.
The True Rippers one, I was ready to just abandon all hope. I was watching it, and I was messaging a couple of friends that work out here, and I was just like, this looks horrent. Like, it was really... Because you expect them to go out... True Rippers don't have a coach! I mean, like, they have some very talented players. Like, I'm not trying to drag them down at all. Like, I watched them and I was just like, holy shit, like, these guys are actually really, really good at the game. But also, like, Gen.G, you're a tier 1 organization. You have been in the Valorant scene for forever. You should expect that they're going to go in and just kind of, like, clap. That was really bad. The thing that I got out of the second series from Gen.G was basically having a bit more faith in Karen, who was a complete unknown coming into... this tournament.
Yeah, Karen looked all right.
Has only ever played on a team called No before joining Gen.G. So didn't know anything about this guy. Actually looks quite good in the second series. Texture still showing that after a season of basically playing nothing but Killjoy, can still go back to playing Jet and Duelist and look really, really good. And also Munchkin giving me a bit more faith in his IGLing, because when we started, you know, if you remember back at Lock-In, he was the one who was IGLing for T1, and there was some bizarre shit happening there. Yeah. And that made me be like, okay, he needs to be the one that's not holding the fucking steering wheel for this team. Like, it needs to be in the hands of Zeta, and then things started looking good. So him coming into this and also being able to show some competency as far as being a IGL, I think a solid sign. So I'm actually like a bit more hopeful for Gen.G.
Yeah. The first series had really poor performances from Karen and Lakia, and I was annoyed watching the True Rippers game because I felt bad for True Rippers having thrown away a 9-3 lead on the final map of Haven and not being able to close that out just due to inexperience and a bit of choking. I think in the big moment they weren't able to get that win on the board, which I think would have been massive for an amateur organization, team without a coach there. But yeah, the next match restored a bit of faith in Karen and Lakia, who both played significantly better than they did in the opening series. And I think that's going to make a huge difference as to whether this team can do anything, is if those two step up. Because you can't always ask Munchkin to have big fragging performances when he's also being asked to do the IGLing. Texture's going to diff most people, I think, in the region. He's incredibly good. But so I think a lot of that is going to come down to Karen and Lakia, who played a lot better in the game against Foot. It was an odd one, but it has restored some hope in Gen.G.
Lakia, I'm still a little bit iffy on as far as how his performance is going to go, because I think we saw him peak really, really early, and I need to see him get back into the form that we had from Lakia when he was on New Turn.
In
nobody knew how to play the game?
When nobody knew how to play the game. Exactly. That's
okay. But I'm just saying, like, I need to see that level. So let me rephrase. I need to see that level of impact from him again.
Yeah.
Because we got these pop-off moments, kind of like we saw in this tournament from him when he was on Damwon, or D+, whatever the fuck their name is now. It's D+ Kia. You know, going into Ascension, and then that very much fizzled out when it came down to it, and they were trying to compete to, you know, get the slot through Ascension. So I want to see more consistency from him, even if he's not doing the crazy, you know, I'm dropping off, you know, Ascent A Heaven.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's not like, no hate, but wasn't that all we got anyways? Was high, like, impact moments from Lakia back on New Turn 2? Wasn't that exactly the same sort of thing that he did? Man, wasn't
it was
like,
a big moment player. I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I don't know. As far as like his util timings and all, like, just overall game sense, I feel like it's dwindled a little bit ever since then, and I want to see him get back to those points where it's like you can watch this guy, and even if he's not top fragging, you can say like, okay, he's consistently making great decisions and he's helping to advance the team forward. We saw a bit of that, you know, in the second series during Convergence. I want to see it more consistently. That's all.
We'll move on to talking about T1. They've released King. And I think I got a lot of people in my Twitch chat being like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? But doesn't this just seem like a good idea, Achilleos?
Yes.
This is just good for King. Because if he's not getting playtime anyway, it might as well be released. Unfortunately, they've done the thing that MCE was talking about earlier on, where you get released so late towards the end of the offseason that good luck finding more opportunities that you would have had they released him earlier. It's just that T1 didn't really know what they were doing, right? Is that a reasonable take?
Yeah, I mean, I think that King was obviously pretty early signing and everything like that. Great player. You know, has still been one of the best Sentinel players, flex over to Viper from time to time, that we have had in Asia, period, for a very long time. But Korea especially has been near the top since his original run on Vision Strikers. But then they started experimenting with other possibilities, and they found that those were working out better. So I think for a lot of people, it's really frustrating and confusing to see this player who is very good get dropped. But ultimately, if the team isn't gelling well when they're playing together, then what the fuck is the point of having a bunch of star players? You can get the top player in every single role, throw them on a team together. It's not going to necessarily give you wins. You know, it's obviously
we're going to talk about NRG later on, so let's not go on to that topic just
okay.
yet.
I won't go too deep, but I mean to reference one of their technical.
Fuck? Wait, was that just mad shade out of nowhere, bro? Like,
No, that wasn't mad. That's not mad shade. That's a compliment, isn't it?
yeah, but
I'm saying they're really talented players.
but Seth even about to talk about NRG. Like, where did that come from?
No, I was just dropping a little thing in there.
If you take the top player in every single role, but it won't necessarily mean that they can actually communicate well together, and that you don't have things like clashing personalities or clashing comms or clashing ideas as far as how you should approach the game. Like all of those things need to be in flow with one another, and if they're not, then you are going to have struggles. So I think it makes sense. Clearly, like T1 just found that with this iteration works immensely better than the one with King. So I mean, I'm also frustrated. I have been a fucking Vision Strikers fan since the beginning, folded into DRX. I have supported King in his journey. I thought he was incredible back at Lock-In on Gen.G. Like, the guy is fucking insanely good still. But ultimately, if it doesn't lead to the results that the organization is looking for, then fuck it. And it makes sense for them to drop him. And hopefully he gets picked up by a team that can actually utilize him.
And hats off to them, too, to, like, do this to reduce the fucking, to improve the fan clarity about what's going on. I think is something that is important, and also important for the players on the team too. There's so many teams out here that just continue to stick with like the possibility of a 6-man roster, and that just fucks it up, man. When it's not
just
clear
name him
about
Bala. Bala's just telling Sentinels to free Pancata. Come on.
free Pancata. No, for real. Actually, though, not relevant. Well, actually, it is relevant, but not what I was talking about. I just like in general, this happens all the time.
Bala thinks Pancata's irrelevant. Front page of Reddit.
This and to be quite frank too, this is like right now the only way to handle a situation like this. I mean, we're just throwing shade at everybody, I guess, but like a team like EG is fucking holding the players in the contract jail, like because I don't know, man. It makes no sense when stuff like that happens, when players just get screwed. Optimally, like we'd have the ability to, I mean, we do have the ability to trade, but that would be a system that would work pretty well. Yeah, you'd have a situation where they wouldn't just have to ride the bench on a reduced salary and get screwed the entire season. They might end up going somewhere where there's like some use, but nobody uses that, so unfortunate.
Okay, I want to do a little theory crafting here. Throw some ideas at me. Where could King go that would improve a team? Because we were just talking about Gen.G, and, you know, Gen.G, you've got Meteor there, but I actually think that's quite a good position for Meteor to be playing. You know, it holds him back from doing more of his, like, aggressive play style. He's still able to aim really well while he's playing the Killjoy.
I got it.
What you got for me, Seth?
This ties it.
Yeah?
Not DFM. Not DFM. A team I think that will probably need the players way more. EG. Sign King. He's a fantastic Sentinel player. He can flex over to Viper, which is really important on a lot of maps. I think that he would be a great addition to the roster.
Does he speak English well?
Yeah.
It's actually it's not bad. It's not to
what
the level
about
of like Carpe Saya player, but it's not
Maryville
bad.
University King?
Oh,
Hey.
Like, what if I just rebuild Vision Strikers at a university? We make another like 127-0 run. Like, I don't know. I might have to talk to the director.
Here's my question, MC. How do I then invest in a collegiate team? Because I'm on board. I'm ready. I got a blank check. Let's fucking go.
NCAA will be glad to take your money, Seth.
Yep.
No. There are, what is it now? The NIL deals or whatever. You know, we can just make an NIL deal for an esports player. They can be the first of their time.
There we go.
And then we'll just crowdfund Vision Strikers at Maryville University.
That would be so funny to see that team work its way up to challenges, but with RB, Zest, and King in it. It's really difficult, I think, to think of sensible places where these players could go. If if we're talking about the other DRX folk as well, or even Pancada, although, you could just try to replace him one for one in some of the...
honestly.
No, I don't think Pancada would work in the Korean scene. It's difficult this late in the offseason. It's tough for the players.
I think ultimately and unfortunately, the best option would be a challengers organization, unless there are just some of the franchise teams that want to make some potentially very drastic changes, potential overhauls, but this late in, when you have your rosters assembled, it could potentially be detrimental. I think that forming a challengers team, like I could see what Shadow Corp just got acquired by like Sinprissa, I think, which is a team that has existed in the Overwatch scene for a little bit. I could see like some of them having an immense amount of interest in picking up these players. Shadow Corp, of course, being where like Yeoman from whatchamacallit came from. My brain is starting to Rare Atom, where he came from. So I could see them potentially being interested in maybe picking up the squad and feeling very confident in being able to make it through Ascension.
The final point on this topic is I've seen a lot of people, you know, when people say there's a rumor, but it actually just means I think this. There's no reporting anywhere. It's just. Oh, what if this happens?
That's my style of reporting.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of people in various different like pools of the community saying, "Oh well, DRX King. They just dropped RB and Zest." This to me makes no sense. He used to be on the team. They've already just promoted Flashback to play Viper for them. Why would they sign King? Is there any reason that anyone can come up with for this? Or is this just people around the community putting 2 and 2 together and making 5?
Oh, those DRX motherfuckers are ruthless, bro. Put them in Lockyer jail. Like, what are we talking about?
It would
Just sign him and put him in the contract jail?
The only thing I could think of was if like, you know, when you if you'd like dated somebody in high school and then you were single for a long period of time and then that other person, you had the chance to date them again, you're like, well, that just feels comfortable. So you like get back together with them, even though it's not necessarily a good idea. That's basically the only excuse I could think of. Termy would just be like, you know what?
High school girl said.
Are you're saying King's going back because the sex was good? Basically, that's what it was. He's like, well, it was dysfunctional, but you know, it was a fun time.
There's been something that's been missing from Termy's life for the last couple of years, and he said, "No,
okay, now you've made it too specific. When it was just the org, I think that was
it was
fine,
just
but
the comfort. It was the comfort of having this super solid Sentinel only player."
Right. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
You guys are misreading this.
Right. You mean from a strategic point of view, Termy was comfortable.
Exactly.
At the point in time, crafting around it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But also a fan fiction point of view.
Okay. All right. Let's get off this topic. Clearly, we can't be trusted. No, of course. The chat.
There was no mixed signals there from you, Seth. None whatsoever.
I thought I was being pretty straightforward.
Yep. Well, let's move on then to the big topic this week. The reason our title is Freed from Contract Jail is because things are starting to finally develop in the NRG EG situation, the hostage situation, basically. So Ethan has tweeted that he's out of jail. He's literally not tweeted any words as far as I can tell. It's all been communicated through
GIF,
hieroglyphs. Right? Yeah, it's basically just our version of Egyptian hieroglyphs, posting GIFs of people escaping from jail. What show is this from?
I don't know.
Anyone know?
I got no clue.
See, I would have gone with
GIF.
an "Oh brother, where art thou?" But this is also pretty good.
Yeah, that would have been good too.
Isn't there a show called Jailbreak? That's what this is.
Could be.
Isn't that like a serious drama?
Probably.
And then, why'd you have to drag it down?
They just sober you up real fast.
Well, on the positive side, though, NRG also tweeted out the "We got him." Another phenomenal GIF.
If you're an audio listener, watch the video.
Yeah. Can't explain that one to you.
What a middle finger to audio listeners. If you can't watch the video, watch the video.
Spotify does have the video uploaded. So if you're an audio listener, you can like tap your phone and you can bring up the video for clips like that. There you go, in case you didn't know.
Just
and
don't
then
do it if you're
NRG
listening
posted
on
a
your
GIF.
morning drive.
Well, yeah, don't do it while you're driving. Yeah, we don't want to be responsible for car crashes because you wanted to see a meme. NRG posted, "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him." This has got to be one of the best videos on the internet. It always sends me. It's exactly my type of humor.
It's
just
perfect.
them busting into the house,
I didn't feel
tackling
like
the old
putting all
lady.
The dude just breaks it. If you watch it again, I think the guy just breaks a vase on the wall for no reason. Like they
don't know
break
where
down the
this is
door and he
from.
just smashes something on the wall that has nothing to do with the
Every
invasion.
time I watch this, I see new things.
Yeah, there it is.
It's so good. I don't know where the original is from at all. This is what I imagine when people in the US get swatted when they're a streamer. And they're just having to clear this up in the background.
It is, I mean, yes.
Yeah. I'm fearing for your life. So the rumor is that this, and it is just a rumor at this point, right? Everything about NRG. I don't think there's been any serious reporting on the topic. It's just like little bits of leaked stuff. But the rumored NRG roster, as it's been rumored for months and hasn't really changed, is Ethan, Demon One, Crashies, Victor, Marved. Yeah? What was that?
These team brand accounts are so down bad, bro. Like, I don't understand. What are they
What is this?
tweeting?
Audio listeners, I'd like to read this one out for you. NRG tweeting officially 1 year clean, praying emoji, and the image is calling women mommy in VALORANT. They've been abstinent for over a year and showering have been abstinent for 13 days. Why have you tweeted this on the company account? That shouldn't
That's
go on
Sen.
your main account.
That's Sen. Let's be real. That's Sen.
Yeah.
We know exactly who's behind that fucking tweet, and it's her.
Yeah. All right. So this roster, assuming it's true and assuming that it actually ends up happening, because it looks like the wheels are now starting to turn. If it was Demon One, Ethan, Victor, Crashies, Marved, can we break this down a little more granularly? I want to start here. Who IGLs a team like this? Because that's one of the first things to discuss.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. So are you saying there's going to be some kind of paper X methodology?
I mean, I think obviously Marved had a little bit of experience in Sen. That's who I would bet.
And
Then
Fizz.
they're just gonna have to mid round and help them. Crashies and Victor are really good for that. And then Ethan is, pretty vocal from watching comms videos and things like that as well, and has a ton of experience. So basically, they're just gonna let Demon One do what he does and just run around and kill people. And then I think the rest of them will try to pick up everything else. But I think that's gonna be the huge question mark. Is like, who are they gonna lean on if things start to go wrong or whatever? Like, do they have a leadership figure in one of those guys that's going to calm everyone down, like what FNS potentially did? Or just, when things aren't working, having to call, like, in your back pocket, you're like, okay, I know this is going to work. But I'm very curious to see how it goes, honestly. I think you have a lot of mid-round help on that team, but nobody as, like, a, true IGL in every sense.
Yeah. Bala, I would suggest, or expect perhaps, for Crashies to be a player that would maybe step up and pick up the IGLing mantle. And I know that's something that you were interested in previously.
Absolutely. I feel like he's based on talking to him, based off of watching, listening to NRG in the past, listening to Optic in the past, the guy talks so much. He's one of the most vocal people and one of the best, like, mid-round callers that I've ever heard watching a Valorant game or a CS game. Like, he is very, very vocal. And oftentimes, some of those calls that you guys we would put to FNS and be like, FNS Masterclass, is frequently Crashies calling. And I think the guy has the chops to really put himself out there and start to IGL, start to do the entire picture, because he is very good at mid-rounding, and I think as well at seeing the entire picture, seeing where his teammates are, seeing what lurks, Finesse is going to be going on, or Marv is going to be going on, or in this case, Demon One is going to be going on, and be able to adapt to their timing. So from that aspect, I think if he just picks up the pre-round stuff and starts working with Chet significantly, I think the guy could be a top-tier IGL overnight, literally. And I think the fact that we don't know, this is still all rumors or whatever, but everybody's speculating it's going to be Ethan, or people are speculating it's going to be Marved. I think the fact that Crash's name is not even being considered is kind of crazy to me. And I don't know whether that's from his end, that's why the rumors aren't starting, because he's just not interested in doing it. or what. But I really think, like, from my perspective, NRG and chat, he's a guy who likes to be creative. If they don't have an IGL, like an IGL that's not just mid-rounding and actually calling based off of a structure or anything like that, then Chet's system is not going to work as well. They're not going to be able to be as flexible, as creative, as ahead of the meta. So somebody needs to step up. And if, to me, it's like Ethan can probably do it, yeah, for sure. He's also like somebody up there with Crashies, but I think Crashies is probably better. If one of those two guys don't step up, and I'd say even, like, if it's not Crashies, I don't think that they're going to be able to win a tournament. They won't have that same level of finesse person who can cohesively put everything together to win a tournament, to be ahead of the meta, to be able to use all of the pieces effectively. Without that, I think they're going to be a middling team at international tournaments where they can get top fours but not be able to close out.
Well, I want to address the Ethan thing a little bit as well, because I'm not as comfortable with his experience in Counter-Strike. Does he have an IGLing history there? I didn't think he did. Right, so is the speculation just because he's a very smart player, a very vocal player, somewhat similar to the Crashy speculation that he could become an IGL if he had wanted to?
Yeah.
Right.
I think so, but I also think probably, again, like I think a lot of these rumors oftentimes are rooted in truth. So like, because I see so much of it, like I think he's stated he's interested in doing it for NRG, and that's why this roster makes any sense at all. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's certainly something the players would have to think about when they're constructing a roster like this. I mean, it's not. This is not a roster that they had an idea and then it fell to pieces and they've had to rebuild last minute. This has been in the works for months, by the sound of it, like a long time.
I would have told NRG the same exact thing if it meant getting me out of my EG contract. So I would have been like, I absolutely 100% can IGL for this team. I've got all the ideas. They're great ideas.
The best.
Just get me, just pay the buyout, get me out of here, and everything's gonna be great.
Yeah. I'm just not gonna put it down in writing. You know, things can change, but I don't want it in my contract that I'm IGLing. Just sign quickly. The other part to this as well is the more that I think about this roster, the more that the roles do overlap quite a bit and they're missing certain small components. For example, putting together a non-double initiator roster where you have a Raze player. Is Victor playing the Raze? Is Demon 1 going to end up playing Raze? Is the only reason that Demon 1 didn't play Raze because Jorgmo was so good on EG? These are all questions that I have about this team, because if you start flexing Victor around a lot, you really don't have anyone else that has a lot of Sentinel experience. They're missing...
You forget.
What, the Crashy Sentinel?
Yes. I mean,
Crashy was
one of the best, if not the best Sentinel in the game at the beginning of the game. Like, and he switched
I don't remember that shit.
Oh yeah, back at the very beginning. He was a Cypher main, and he was insane at it. But you also have Victor that played a ton of Killjoy. You have like very flexible players inside that system that they can make it work. I think the Raze discussion is going to be the weird one, because it's like, I hope they don't go to a double duelist, which is what I fear, because I just don't think it's that good. But I could see them going double duelist, putting Demon 1 on Jet, just treating it like a Sentinel, playing no Sentinel, or, potentially bringing Chamber back into the mix and letting Demon 1 play Chamber, because he was insane on Chamber, like in tier 2, tier 3. And like, he's going to do the same thing if he goes back on Chamber. Like, he's insane.
Don't we think that they'll just do exactly the same thing as EG, where Demon 1 just flexes off of Jet when they need a Raze, and Victor plays Raze because Victor's insane.
Yeah, that would be my thought.
I think the weird part that does is like, how does that affect the controllers, right? Because then Marved won't exactly have the space to play in that like double controller type composition. But
if you do double controller though, and you put Marved on the Viper, it'll work, because that means he can be more aggressive, he can lurk, he can do the things he's good at. And then you have Demon 1 just locking it down on Brimstone, on Astra, on, agents like that, which he was very comfortable doing on.
And Crashies flexes off. And
Crashies would have to be the Sentinel in some of those comps. Yeah. So
I was going to say, like, what didn't we see? I mean, I didn't watch that many America's games, to be honest. So, like, didn't we see quite a bit of Marv playing Viper anyway? So I feel like that would
Yeah, Marv has always
naturally-
played a lot of Viper. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
even
played some.
before, but I just mean like in this last season, like it feels like that would just be a natural carryover for him. So having like kind of like the primary controller, that it feels like this would just fit actually very naturally. God damn, they're gonna win champions. Fuck.
I'm a bit worried though about. Go on.
Yeah, the only thing about this that's going to be scuffed, because we went through it as well, is you're going to have like 3 to 5 guys all playing like at least 3 agents.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to like stay current and like
And roles.
know all of your setups and like switching
Maximize
back and
that.
forth and everything like that, and getting, what you need out of it, especially in practice. If you are forced to play 3 maps in a week and you go into a veto and somehow they just out of nowhere pick a map that you weren't ready for, like what if that was your Killjoy map and you haven't played Killjoy in a week, 2 weeks, like that usually doesn't happen, but that's something that can happen because it's very hard to play 7 maps consistently, and you get away with it because of the role continuity. Like when you don't have role continuity, you can make it work, it works really well, but that's where you're going to potentially end up in like, oh, I haven't played Killjoy in like 2 weeks. Like what was this molly? What was, these things? And like, that's where I potentially worry, like amongst, the leadership thing and things like that.
Yeah. It feels like a really talented roster that still has a lot of hurdles to get over. One of the players that I'm a bit concerned about as well is if Marv is playing in a system that isn't particularly, like if his role is not carved out nicely, I feel like he may end up going for plays that don't get supported particularly well. I think that was a large issue with what was going on Sentinels, is that everything felt a bit chaotic, and then Marv ended up either feasting or famining based on whether he was able to hit his timings or not. And I'm concerned with that a little bit. I think that Finesse carved out a fantastic niche for Marv to thrive inside of when he was playing with Optic. And if they don't have a grand vision and they're having to swap the roles around all the time, that is one of the players that has the more aggressive tendencies on these lurks that I could see getting caught out quite a lot and looking like they're not as in sync with everybody else. That's one of my other concerns.
But, when Marv was so dominant, it was with Chet and NRG. So, like, I can see both sides of that it's like, he's back with his boys, he's comfortable, he gets to do, the things that made him, Marved on FaZe and on, Optic the first time around, that like I could see him coming back out of his shell and reminding people like how good he was on that roster. Like you saw it on Sentinels here and there, and like even in playoffs they push people to the edge. But like Marv is really fucking good. Like people
His
just
aim is fabulous
it's this
as well.
it's the
It's so
recency
ridiculous.
bias, and all of this is crazy that it's like, oh, I haven't seen this guy, win consistently for like a month or like a week or 2 weeks. It's like, oh, they must be the worst player in the world. Like, no, Marv is still that guy. Like,
you can't understate the fact that he's going to play with his boys in a system that like enables his play style to the fullest. Like that's the reason.
Possible.
Crashies calling
If they get the calling
or
down.
If they get the calling down, right? But also, no, not even that. Just like in the mid round, like he has people who will be able, like Crashes and Victor are going to be able to play with whatever timing he's going to look for. Like it's oftentimes when I worked to Optic, like I'm not to bring this back up, but it was exactly the same coordination between Crashes, Victor, and Marv that made some of those rounds fantastic, and made Marv look really good too. So like I'm like 99% sure Marv is going to be a beast when he plays on Energy.
Okay. Where do we think this team is going to actually place? So we've gone through a lot of the like, we've kind of actually accepted it as given that the roster looks stacked. We haven't even really talked about that part of it. We've just been talking about the limiting factors to them being an America's super team. But if we want to talk about some of the positives and where we think they're going to be, would you call this a super team? Are you expecting them to be towards the top of like, top 2, top 3, making it to international tournaments? Where do you see them actually going?
Can I, real quick, like going back to the region thing, this is funny because I think that they are an NA super team. They're one of the most talented teams put together ever in North America, but that does not mean they're an America's super team, and that doesn't mean like to me now at this point, like you need to be like taking fucking Aspas, fucking you know, crashes. You got to take Demon One. Like, you got to put the fucking stars of the league together, not just the stars of North America type thing.
But again, does not always give you results because you need that you know, just everyone coming together in order to make it work.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, I do think that this is definitely a superstar team for sure. These are all players that have demanded an immense amount of respect throughout their careers, and I'm inclined to place them very highly within Americas. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more that needs to be seen. I mean, we need to see the fucking team play. We need to know, you know, how the comp situations are going to be, you know, how is that all going to be functioning? But I would put them near the top right now.
I would be comfortable saying, like, if there was 3 splits, that they would win one of them.
If there were
Top 3 is kind of where I was
one.
thinking, and I'm not sure if I'm crazy. Maybe I don't. Oh, I thought MCU was walking away. I thought I thought he was like, this guy has no fucking concept about American.
I can see into the workshop, and my dad was looking where I took the hammer from, so I was like, oh, he might need the hammer. So he was looking
pulling out a
confused.
Christmas present from under the tree. So, MC, where do you see this team falling in Americas?
If they're not top 4, it's a failure.
Also agreed.
Yeah, with the level
Plain
of
and
quality
simple.
that they have on the team.
Yeah, plain. I think Americas is going to be pretty competitive at the top, towards the top. But if they're not top 4, I think you have to look at it that it wasn't good enough. Like, that should be the expectation for this team.
Top 4's the upper third as well. That's not even that crazy. And top 4 gets you to champions. So there is literally a big difference between being top 4 and top 5 at the end of the year. I think that's a pretty reasonable expectation to set for them. In terms of the other teams that you're looking at, though, I mean, Leviathan obviously look like a really top team. Sentinels are developing to the point where I think you'd have confidence in them being up there as well. Loud, I don't know how to think about Loud at all until we've seen them play with QCK a bit more, but I feel like you can't bet against Loud when they're such an established core, even after having lost Aspas.
Yeah.
Are those the kind of teams that we see them up there competing with? Because there's also outside shots of people like Cloud9 had a pretty decent results in the offseason. G2 have been very good at the tier 2 level. 100 Thieves with Boostio might end up being really solid. So there should be some competition. It's not like NRG will have an easy run of it just by stacking their roster.
Yeah.
I think for me, just kind of like going in semi-blindly, but my top 4 is probably like in no particular order. C9, Leviathan, NRG, Sentinels. I could see that being the top 4 at the end of like stage 1.
I would expect Loud to be in there rather than C9, I think, but hard to say.
Maybe. I just don't know what to expect. I mean, because it's also QCK, but it's also Fraud leaving the team. But I'm not sure how big his contributions were overall. But
was Loud the one that picked up the Union's head coach as well? Is that where he went, or was that Furia?
I'm not sure about that actually.
I think he was.
I think Louder's still looking for. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is.
When did that happen?
And like, but this guy Union had really good, set stuff, things like that. And like, if Sodhack has another coach like Fraud that, they get along, they have similar ideas, they like work together well, then like, I think they'll be okay, basically. So like, I liked the Union, some of the things they did last year. And we played them in practice while we were down there, was very impressed that like, I have high hopes for him coming into this team, despite losing Fraud, which, is a big blow, but like, I have very high hopes for them. I am not a big QCK believer. Like, there were a couple other options I felt like they should have went towards in terms of a duelist, but a lot of the time the teams know like what they need, what will work, things like that. So like, give him the benefit of the doubt and the team the benefit of the doubt for that to work. But yeah, I think the top, 8 in Americas is all going to be competing for, those top 4 slots. I think it's going to be another, knockout, drag out season that pretty much every single one of these teams in the top 10 teams in the league, top 8, top 10, will beat each other on every single week. Like, I don't think there's anybody that's like a super standout so far, but like, I could see Leviathan doing it. I could see maybe NRG doing it. But I think it's going to be a pretty competitive season, like overall in the Americas.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Can I just say as well?
Yeah.
NRG, this is not any like it's not really their fault. 100 Thieves is the same kind of way, but bro, EG has fucked the offseason for these two teams. Like it's a disaster, right? Obviously they're getting a fantastic team, but every other team has been practicing for months at this point. And like these guys they're gonna have to. We're in the holidays. They can't sign contracts until those things go off. They can't be practicing until they come off the books for EG. Like that's going to be into January probably, and they're not going to be able to start practicing until way after.
Because EG could literally just be like, "Oh, we're on holiday break," like from now until the 10th of January.
Just to
and
be
just be like,
dicks
"Oh,
about it.
sorry, all of our people we needed, we fired, or they're not here." Like our bad.
But also, I'm pretty sure it's not even a situation where EG is like they're kind of. I feel like they're kind of just going around EG at this point. Like Ethan is obviously tweeting that he's out of contract jail. But like
What do you
to
mean
me, I thought
I
that
don't know.
they were waiting for
I
these
saw 100 Thieves
contracts.
scrimming the other day. I don't know. That's you know.
I thought that they were waiting for contracts to go off the books for EG, based off of timing that they somehow got, and they were waiting for that shit to happen,
I think
rather
that
than like buyout situations or anything like that.
Well, couldn't that still be the case? I mean, everybody on EG had a 2024 end date to their contract, didn't they? Or at least that's what it currently says on the global contract database.
But
Yes.
that could be December 31st.
It could
of
be, yeah.
2024 as well.
It certainly could be, yeah. In fact, I think it's more likely to be December, like late 2024,
Well,
because otherwise
what
they'd
I
already be out.
What I think is that it was January 2024, February 2024, and finally EG is saying, okay, like we're not going to be able to keep them, and we're not getting buyouts because we know they've been poached, like that sort of situation. And so finally they're just like, okay, we can't pay them another month of salary because we got to start fucking budgeting for our team that we're putting together for some reason.
Yeah. No, I think what happened is the person that decides all these things, they accidentally got rid of and forgot. And they're just like, oh yeah, contact this person. And everybody just keeps emailing that person, but just they don't have a clue what's going on. So they can't get it together enough to respond. EG's like, why is everyone saying bad things about us? We're trying so hard because they don't know that person's gone.
Yeah. Actually, though, I'm pretty sure they really did get rid of the management rep for I forgot what his name is, Andrew Barton or something like that.
He went.
He went to CLG or FlyQuest. So he's gone, and he was definitely handling that stuff before.
Let's move on. I want to skip the Boostio 100 Thieves topic just for now, and we'll return back to it later. But we're kind of talking about EG a bit, so I do want to just jump straight into building EG's 2024 roster, because I feel bad for Potter, and I feel bad for Com potentially if he ends up getting left behind in this situation, and the other people that are going to end up having to scramble around here. What a whiplash to go from. There are a lot of teams that have gone from tournament successes to then having to rebuild, but I can't think of another situation like this where you have to where you go from being on top of the world, and then instantly you realize that it's just Jova, and you are not even going to have probably that competitive of a team, because they're just trying to. It only makes sense that EG would be trying to put together something budget, because all of the reporting around Evil Geniuses says that they're trying to get out of esports, they're trying to extract themselves in the near future. This leak from Spanish, is it a reporter? I don't exactly.
He does
know.
a lot of reporting, but I'm pretty sure he's content creator for Giants. Yeah,
right.
Or
okay.
he was like,
But
he runs the podcast, like the most popular Valorant Spanish podcast.
That has a lot of leaks in it very regularly as well. Those guys have more holes than a colander. They are leaking everything out there. But yeah, I feel bad for them. But yeah, the report there being that they're going to stick around for 2024. They're not looking to be maybe I shouldn't say they're not looking to be replaced, but they're not going to be replaced, I guess is the report.
Yeah, I mean.
What
the
do they
last
do?
report we got was they're leaving by the end of 2023. This report saying they're going to continue. And this is what I was kind of afraid of. I feel like Riot has all the tools in the world to be able to actually legally force them to continue if they wanted to, if they couldn't find a replacement or they couldn't come up with a solution that was good enough. And they could do all that shit in the background without taking any blame for it or anything like that. And I think that's personally what's going on. And I think it's not the best outcome, but you know, they have to continue.
This could just be a situation where the truth lies somewhere in between, though. So like they're not out ahead of the season, and then the other report says that they're going to continue the entire season. What if they just continue and then halfway through the season it's just like, hey, it's a new organization?
They're not gonna just like. They're not going to just give the players of the roster to a different team, and they're not going to just boot the fucking roster out of the season. Like, that would be crazy.
If the entire company
We've seen crazy shit
point...
happen already. I mean, look at the fucking guard situation. Like, I can see it happening.
Companies can fold, and then you couldn't be legally obligated to do things if the entire company just completely folded. I think that would be the worst case scenario, though, because you'd get to a point where...
Yeah.
But it would ruin the competitive integrity.
Why?
Because so many people would have already played against EG, and then maybe they're just getting forfeit wins after that or something, depending on what the schedule is like.
No, I'm saying
worse. I think it would have to be like a new organization coming in.
Well,
it would have to be like them getting acquired.
If there was that, if they just ended up folding and they had to, they're not going to be able to scramble and bring somebody in halfway through the year if that did happen. Right? I mean, how are Riot going to be able to do that? If EG just suddenly decides to close up shop completely halfway through the year, or frankly, if any organization did that, they're not going to be able to figure that out. They're just going to have to forfeit the rest of their games or something. Or maybe forfeit all of the previous ones as well. It would be a really weird situation for Riot to have to deal with.
I don't know if they would have to cancel the previous
This
ones.
happened in CS at a certain point where teams dropped out of a league or whatever, and what they did is they retroactively gave forfeit wins to all the teams.
Right. So even if you'd lost to them, you still got a forfeit win. Right. Yeah. Because otherwise it's just a massive competitive problem.
Yeah.
You kind of have to re-edit it as if they were never taking part.
Yes.
But okay, so Potter's gonna
Can we do that already? Can we go back?
No. I mean, I still want to see.
Give the championship to PRX. Let's go.
Is there any chance that EG can make a good roster if they keep Potter, Jorgamo, Com, and they pick up 3 other players? There could still be a competitive team there.
I don't know who's on it, but yeah.
I mean,
I can list off people if we want to start.
I mean, this is definitely your field of expertise.
Yeah, I mean,
if you were allowed, okay, but MCE, only people that would, you think, be available for the scrap, the budget that EG.
Oh, you mean like the entire roster I was about to build for next season? My bad. Let me not consider
MC,
anything about this.
Scout for Plat Chat for us right now for a completely meaningless segment.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I would grab Nature. I think role flexibility wise, what he brings to a team, this is a perfect opportunity fit for him. Things like that. He would be one of the guys I would look at literally immediately. You have, just start picking people from challengers that performed well at this point as well. You have so many different players. Depending on, you need a Sentinel, you have a Proto, you have Baby J. I know everyone hates that name, and he might be a little bit of a psychopath, but he's really good at shooting his gun. Really good at shooting his gun. But you have to
be able to
control him and inside a team. So obviously he has gotten better from the beginning,
just
but
love the jersey that they still have on him. He's the fucking Dark Knight.
But I mean, you have, the mid phase guys, you have, Baby Bay. Is Jaw going to play main duelist? There are so many different options that you can look at. OR just left Valorant. That's players that you can, pull from. You've got Pancakes, you've got, just all these different players that you can make a competitive team, because more and more you see Rossi going over, you see Governor going over, but it's the Batman jersey.
Kurt laughing makes me laugh.
Nilly is I'm pretty sure he's IGLing on OR, that they've looked good. There's so many talented players that you can bring up that would be drooling for this opportunity. So I don't think they're screwed. I think they're behind. But arguably they were behind last year as well. But if you want to prove you're good players, you're good coaches, you're things like that, you have to do it consistently. It's not like a one and done wonder year, which yes, they were incredible, but it's okay, you can't be well, I wish I had my team last year. It's no, you have to focus on, what's at hand and then go from there. If your entire career is built upon oh, we did this once, that's you need to keep producing success. And to do that, the second this happens, you have to be like, well, that fucking sucks. But like, okay, what am I doing now? Like, do you want to be a part of the project? No? Okay, good. Like, I'll try to help you get out. I'll try to help you do whatever. And then you just keep rolling. Like, it's more so like a traditional coach and, colleges. It's like, okay, I have a kid for 4 years. Like, if this kid comes in and he's a bust, I have to get a new kid. And that is what franchising is. It's like, you have to be able to continue to produce, like, no matter what gets thrown your way. And this is a very unfair thing for them to deal with. But I feel like this is going to start happening more and more as time goes on, or you're going to like see how good people are truly because they're going to keep producing results. It's not just going to be a 1 year thing. It's going to be, okay, now Calm and Jaw get approved that they're, the veterans. This is their chance to become all-time greats instead of great right now. And I think they definitely have the ability to do that. They have that experience. They're fun guys to be around. Like, they are who you want in a team to build, and it's a great piece to start building around.
Here's one of my nightmare concerns, though, is that we have heard from reporting that EG offered the like 50% pay cut or you're gone, basically, to the players. And it sounds like, again, this is just speculation, this isn't based on reporting, that some of them told EG to fuck off, basically, and they were just going to wait around until they got bought out by another team. If Com and Jorgamo have also told EG to fuck off and they don't find another team to get Com and Jorgamo too, is there a chance that we get towards the beginning of the season and those two players just drop because EG don't want the original contract on the books?
Let's do a math equation. Let's do a math equation. Can we pull this up? Let's go a 50% pay cut. All right, let's say everybody was making
pull this up.
Pull it up and track my numbers. All right. Let's say 5 players. Okay, so five.
Get that, Kurt. 5
times $20,000.
Yep. I don't get out of bed for less than that.
Okay, 100,000. 50% pay cut, right? That works too. So you have $50,000 in your new budget. If we pay the players, you have 2 guys coming back, so take $40,000 out of that. So what we're going to do for the new players, we're going to give them all-time deals, best deals in the league. So divide this by 3.
That's
this is the
minimum.
Salary you're giving to the new players. Calm and Jaw still get to, keep their $20,000. So it's really Calm and Jaw got rid of the other 3 so they could keep their salaries.
Now, the only problem with that is 3,333 a month is below the minimum by like a fair chunk, isn't it?
Which is where my theory comes into play. And that EG tries this,
that's
and
only
then they get ejected mid-year.
Yeah, I think the minimum salary is like 4K. It's around there. So the numbers don't quite add up
but the season doesn't start. So maybe they're only paying Jaw and Calm right now.
Oh, so they wait to get the other players so they don't have to pay a full 12 months?
Yeah, and then they've got another 4 months right now of $40,000 saved. And then across the year, that's enough to barely be over, league minimum. So they're not going to sign anyone all the way up until let's say January 12th. Yeah, the day before. They save
15th.
all of that money
Day
and then
present.
they use that for the next season. They're just budgeting. This is smart business by EG.
They should have hired you for this math and then fired you with the rest of the staff because they were calling everybody. So
yeah.
Does anybody know if the team? This is obviously you guys don't know, but are the teams required to have the amount of capital necessary to pay for an entire year?
No, they're definitely not. That's just not how these orgs function anyway. They don't have that. I mean, that's the whole thing with Sentinels is they didn't have enough capital to be able to function for the rest of the year. They literally reported that. But they raised capital down the road so that they have enough to be able to still function. Cash flow, baby! That's why we all get paid 9 months late at esports.
Yes.
Woohoo! Right
you
now,
get
let's
paid 9 months late. Jesus, fuck. What the hell?
For some events, I've definitely been paid
net
pretty
90, right? It's supposed to be net 90.
Net 90 months.
Net 90 months.
Okay, now let's move on to talking 100 Thieves Boostio. So, one of the potential winners out of this situation is that Boostio is going to be able to take his IGLing to another team. This has been, again, rumored forever, but weren't they talking on Asana's stream about going out to a team dinner? They're like,
Yeah, something like that.
hey, we're going out to a Team 100 Thieves dinner. And Boostio's like, I'll come along. I'm definitely not on the team, though. I don't think it included that level of porn acting, but yeah, it was basically that.
I don't think it was
situation.
acting. I think Boostio implied that they were teammates, and Asuna backed it up a little bit, like backed up what Boostio said. I should have the audio, but I don't. Sorry.
Yeah, the clip is basically, though, the same thing that we've known for a while, is that this move is pretty much happening. What do you think about this 100 Thieves squad? I think a lot of people are down on them because what we saw from them with Nature in the team when they hadn't really scrimmed at all was quite poor. But that, to me, doesn't seem a fair way of judging a team.
Yeah, I mean, if you throw a kid in and you're like, hey, surprise, you're IGLing, we're playing this event. Like,
Also, you're not
you have,
playing the future one, so who cares?
Yeah, so like, get lost.
You
Congratulations.
have one
you
shot,
almost
one
made it.
opportunity, but even if you succeed, we're cutting you anyway. From
You have to go to Japan for your trial for every other team. Not our team, but every other team.
The other team. Yeah, no, I mean, this is another recency bias thing that, like, they couldn't get it together last year. Who knows what was, happening? I'm not going to speculate. But Cryo, still really fucking good at the video game. Bang, if he has confidence and, like, figures it out, I think he's one of the best controllers in, the Americas. And then, like, Asuna, as much shit as this kid gets, like, if you heard comms, if you knew what he did behind the scenes, if you knew, like, what kind of player Asuna is, you would understand why he's so valuable. You bring Boostio in, who is going to be, like, hilarious inside this team. Like, I want to see comms videos from 100 Thieves. Because Boostio is so high energy, excited, whatever. All these guys are super young. I feel like they're going to feed off of it. And it's going to be, like, just straight content while they play matches. But, like, they have a good team. EU was one of the best initiators. And I think before going to Brazil, he was probably a lock for any franchise team. I think he struggled a little bit from what he played online to the LAN, and that kind of brought up some question marks where people are like, I don't know. But, like, I think this is a steal for 100 Thieves as well, because EU is really, really good as well. All these guys really young. They're going to gel together. They're going to work well together. I think Zix is a very underrated piece from the EG success. And, like, all these pieces, if it works together and fits, this will be one of the better teams. Like, I know this is hopium. I know this is whatever, but I feel like these guys got over the year that it's like, oh, you're expected to be the best team in the world. They learned from that. And if they did learn from that, they will have a good year.
Fully agree. Have to use the bathroom. Just wanted to say that. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I like this 100 Thieves team. I don't really know where the doubt of Asuna's coming from, but I think Boostio should be able to make a good system out of this. My concern, though, lies with being able to make Cryo look like he did on Xset versus what he looked like last year. And I don't know what the solution is there, to be honest, but I felt like obviously part of that is because he's able to play so much chamber, but they were still able to get him functioning really well on the attack side. And that seemed to be a massive struggle for 100 Thieves last year. It's not like the coaching staff has massively improved. I mean, I don't mean that to shit towards Zix. What I mean is that they used to have a ton of staff. They used to have a lot of staff on board there. Now they have 2 staff, which is more than 1 staff, but it's not a huge backing like 100 Thieves used to have.
But it is a staff of intellect.
What huge backing did they have before, though? Like, what are you referencing?
They had
an assistant coach and a head coach?
Well, they had assistant coach, head coach, and then they also had
a whole reserve roster? Like, what?
A whole reserve roster? What was that?
Talking about Zix and EG, no?
No,
No.
Talking
We're
100
talking
Thieves.
about 100 Thieves.
No, I'm talking about 100
staff, or
Thieves.
staff.
100 Thieves fired a lot of people, including a large amount of the people that were helping the coaching staff function with, like, analytics behind the scenes. So that's one of the other things that ended up contributing, I think, to 100 Thieves looking a lot worse when they lost Sean. It wasn't just Sean, although they did lose, obviously, a lot of experience there as well with Sean Getz.
Yeah.
So
now, obviously, this
that's
is
what I'm
Mike's
referencing.
fault.
Yes, I mean, Mike's drove this team into the ground, and honestly, piece of shit human being as well. Killed me in DayZ once recently.
I can't believe this guy.
I know.
Speaking of, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think they're going to be fine. I think having a head coach and assistant coach and somebody like Mike's, who is so valuable in, a coaching staff, is really going to help. If Zix is, who I picture him to be, or who I think he is as a coach in terms of helping with EG's success, I think, this team is set up well. They just have to make the pieces work. I think that's the big question, is like, are they going to get along? Is Zix going to work well with Mike's? Are the kids going to get together with each other, which I think they will. Like, I think there's no pressure. Well, obviously there's pressure being 100 Thieves, but like there's no relative pressure
definitely
this year
reduced a lot.
compared to last year.
Yeah, them losing last year has really helped the pressure situation because nobody expects a huge amount from them anymore. The last offseason, the expectations went up dramatically.
I don't agree with that though. I think people are expecting a lot from now. They get two people coming from the World Championship team, their head coach and their IGL, which are huge pieces.
Well, the head coach of their reserve roster. Right.
No, he was the assistant.
No, he was the assistant. He's now the head coach
of the main team. My bad.
He's now the head coach, though, is what I meant to say. Either way, I think a lot of people see that. They see EU coming in the team. They're like, "Holy shit, we can do it now!" Like, Cryo's going to be the Cryo that we all like. I think the pressure ramps right back up, and I actually fear that. And this is something they're going to have to prove to me, because I agree with all the things that you're saying. Yeah, I think everybody's going to get along. I think Boostio is going to inject a lot of energy, but you have to have, like, these guys have been used to 2 seasons of mediocrity and losing when there's that pressure. That's now a newfound set of expectations for them, where they have to like break free of that image. That's something that seeps into you and makes it hard to function and start winning again. Like, that's something that they have to break through first before I'm comfortable saying like, okay, they're going to have a successful season. So I'm scared, and I'm not sure that they're going to be all fine.
I mean, I only have obviously limited exposure, just given that Boostio wasn't with them at the time. But having been around the team while they were at Red Bull Homeground, like, as far as like spirits and just camaraderie goes, like, it seemed like the team was just gelling offline really, really well together. One of the things that was openly...
they've always done that, but they always lose too.
Sure, but
not always. And if we're ignoring, they looked much better towards the end of the year. If they would have had a double elimination chance in LCQ, I think this conversation is potentially extremely different. Like, they ran into a Sentinels that played well. What do you mean? What do you mean? Look at Cryo at the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Like, no. I'm not taking this.
No,
Cryo
was a lot better. Cryo was a lot better, but I think the team overall still had no chance of winning LCQ.
I'm not saying they would have won. I'm saying, like, if you would have given them the chance, I think
the knife wouldn't have happened.
They would have lost to Leviathan before they even got to Crew.
Maybe.
I think they were worse than C9 as well. I mean, they were definitely worse than that C9 roster. They're like the 4th best, even with double elimination and a win over Sentinels. It wasn't an amazing season for them.
My point was just going to be like, it seemed like everyone was getting along really well, and they were really open about admitting their faults. Because I made jokes to Mike's, because we had Cryo versus Asuna, I think, in the show match on Sunset, and neither team could attack. And I made the joke on broadcast that neither team could attack because 100 Thieves doesn't know how to attack. And when I told it to him, he was just like, yeah, it's true. Like, actually, our attack side is really weak right now, but we're working on it. And they were just like very upfront about being like,
dude, you're just like, just killed the dude. He's like, oh, fuck, man. Yeah, you're right.
But it's like, yeah, actually, like, that is our weak side right now. But hey, like, it's early days. We're still working on fixing that kind of shit. I'm like, all right, that's good to see just the upfrontness about it. And hopefully with some more complete pieces being added, if that is going to be the case, then there's actually more to root for and more to expect from the team.
Okay.
I believe in Bang.
Okay.
I love Bang. I believe in him too.
I want this team. I want to go for I want to move on from the 100 Thieves talk and go on to the next topic. I haven't seen this one because, again, I woke up this morning hungover and forgot it was Wednesday. But this is Vini Jr. joins Loud. Are we leaving the Esports Winter? As we discuss EG packing it in. Now, what the hell is going on here then? So, are football superstars investing into Loud? Is that the crack?
That was my assumption. I have no idea who this is.
Yes, he's a player for Real Madrid.
I would assume he is a soccer
Vinicius
player.
Jose I don't know how to say his last name. De Oliveira Jr., by the way.
Right.
Commonly known as Vinicius Jr., is a Brazilian professional football player who plays for La Liga Club Real Madrid.
Oh, it's a Real Madrid player. Okay. So, very famous, presumably, if you follow football at all, which I don't.
What?
Nor do I.
And so
You're British.
I
You
can't
should.
wait for this fucking comments.
Oh, everyone's gonna.
I don't know who this is. They're gonna be so there. I can't believe they don't know who this is.
yeah.
Dude, I'm amazed
gonna
they have
maul.
the same production quality as all of the like Star Wars miniseries.
Is that a good thing?
Is this Coruscant? What are we
Yeah,
looking
I'm
at?
saying like,
I don't
this
know.
is good.
I
Like,
don't know if
it,
you're talking shit or like saying it's good.
I'm shitting on Star Wars. I always shit on Star Wars.
And so, what is is this just another famous investor in the space, basically? Is it,
Yeah.
or is there more to this?
I would assume this is a
partnership?
really, really big deal. Like, the problem is, I'm American. The only soccer player I know is David Beckham, who also was an owner of Guild, and that didn't really work out as well as like people hoped when that happened. So like
Right.
I would assume this is really good for the scene, and Loud has done a phenomenal job. Oh, 44 million. Yeah. He's kind of a big deal, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like this is really good for the scene, but hopefully he's going to be more like Aguero was with Crew, where he's really invested, he's doing these things, and not like, you know, David Beckham, who probably doesn't know what Guild is. He just, you know, oh, this is like an opportunity to potentially do this. So like I'm
His lawyers
really
handled
hoping,
that whole thing.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that like he's more invested in it. Like Loud is a very big deal there, so I can see that happening, and that is exciting in itself. And that somebody like that big is coming to an esports organization that wants to be involved, that wants to, you know, be a part of the scene. Like that is exciting.
That certainly is exciting, but Aguero is the majority. Well, actually, I shouldn't say majority because I don't know about that. But he's the owner of Crew, right?
Yeah, but
Split
still,
ownership
he
now
could
with
do
Messi,
that.
no?
He could put
No, yeah,
ownership
Messi.
into this and like do other things. Like he could put people in charge of this and be like, "Oh, I don't give a shit." Like, no, he's at matches. He's doing these things.
Oh no,
That's what I want to see.
Aguero
from
is
these
fantastic.
people.
But I mean, Aguero just brought Messi in. I don't think Messi's going to be looking after. I don't think Messi's going to be turning up to the games in the same way because I think he's just been brought in for a small piece of the ownership, a bit like Shaq with NRG. I mean, NRG was doing this years and years ago, like 5-7 years ago, just bringing in tons of different celebrity investors, and it's mostly they're investing small pieces and have some agreement to like promote stuff. Yeah, it seems
All I know.
cool.
Okay.
We're gonna need a bigger arena when Crew play Loud this year. That's all I know.
True.
I hope
We can't play the Riot
'cause,
Games arena. That shit's way too small.
like backstory of franchising. Every week, like a bunch of people from Riot get together and play like football together, like soccer, near the venue. Imagine if like Aguero, this guy, and Messi just show up to like a men's rec league night to just decimate like these. You know, everybody talked about like JC Stoney playing BattleBit where he destroyed the 9-to-5 blue collar workers. That is what the equivalent would be. They just show up to like a random men's
cheating.
night.
Yeah, he was cheating.
obviously.
That would be very funny.
Yeah, imagine you're just like, oh, I just got done at my accounting job, like lacing up my cleats, gonna have fun with the boys. You walk out and you see, just as more and more like football players get into the league, just randomly in LA, there's like thousands of people watching your men's league night because these guys might show up. Like that. That's pretty crazy.
There's
there's just some team investors that are gonna come play with us, and you're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be some suits.
I would
Guys,
be shitting my
JC
pants.
Stanley was not cheating. I am reading chat. JC Stanley was not cheating. That was a joke.
Yeah,
that was a joke.
Oh my
That was
god!
a joke.
Let's not fucking start that.
Oh god, I'd be scared playing football with them. Not because I'd get owned, but because if I accidentally hurt them And I don't know how it could possibly happen, but me going in for 2-footed tackle and breaking Messi's leg would just be a nightmare scenario. It would kill me.
You can't afford
Or
the
you could
lawyers
make a
that you would
name,
need.
or you could make a name for yourself.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think that about does it for the show this week, unless there's any dramatic last-minute additions. We discussed OR leaving a little bit, but I don't think it justifies an entire topic. So I believe it's time for Wyatt's Weekly Award.
That was so decent.
It was on our end. It won't be on the viewers' end. That was really stressing the production PC, I think. This guy shows up to a rec night.
Sports Center background is just fucking killing it.
Well, I think there's only one person that we can really give this award to. It is the eponymous Wyatt of Wyatt's Weekly Award. Don't believe he's ever won it before. Don't believe he's ever been given his own award. But fuck it. Incestuous awards season is upon us. So why not do that? Seems like something the Esports Awards would do. Just hand out awards to the people who make the awards.
Okay.
He's... What should we show his esports earnings page or something to celebrate?
Holy shit, these stats are crazy.
Damn, dude.
Wait, what is
93
this?
ACS
What
on his
is
2
this?
games.
This is not Wyatt. This is not Wyatt.
This is Wyatt. It says Wyatt.
Dude, Wyatt would cry if we said this was him. He went 7-28 as a 0.16 rating.
Yeah, I
this
can
is
tell you
Wyatt.
it's not Wyatt because he's not
40%
playing
cast?
Sky.
Oh, I'm not giving him the weekly award anymore
is
if this
that
is his
not
actual
like
stats.
A
Yes, it's a
collegiate name? Yeah, like it's like CS USM. That sounds like a college team to me. It's not.
I mean, it looks like cum. It looks like Sussy Cum White. That looks like the name of the team.
I
No?
see the sus, but
Just
I don't see
me?
the... all
Okay.
right.
How
All right,
good would it have
never
been
mind.
if the weekly award was actually a soccer one instead of basketball, though? Like, just tie it
Where
right
is-
into the section.
Oh,
Where
yeah,
is
the-
Josh's brain
basketball's
right now,
better, so.
though? Because not only is he
it
saying
looks like
sussy cum, but he
It's
also
because-
said that it
would
was
you
going to be
like
an
me to bring up
incestuous
Josh?
award.
Josh, speaking of the word you just said, how
Yeah.
about what was it? Like beans on toast? Do you remember the conversation in your chat?
What?
Okay. Never mind.
Beans on toast?
Yes.
What kind of filth have you remembered from the one time that you've poked your head in there recently?
It was your chat that was going nuts. I'm not even. Never mind.
Not my chat. Not my chat.
Okay, your chat will remember it. No.
Who the
I
fuck
can't bring
are
it
we?
up on broadcast.
Okay.
I can't bring it up on broadcast.
Happy birthday to Wyatt. It was his birthday yesterday. He's won the Wyatt's Weekly Award. This is him popping
There we
off
go.
in the greatest game before Valorant, Team Fortress 2. They're very similar games. That's why he's been able to keep his gaming god run up, playing for Cum Esports in collegiate. So
Say.
that's, yeah, fantastic stuff. And I'm sure he'll be back
That was
joining
actually
us at
nice.
some point too. Yeah,
As somebody who
he's
plays this
actually
game, like
correct.
that was nice.
his rockets were sick. I mean, apart from
Oh,
that one.
knife him! Oh, get him out of here!
This whole video is great.
Oh, hey, it's the fragile.
Yeah, like
He's crushing
Wyatt's
these guys.
nice
He's
with it.
crushing.
people
What?
may not realize it, but Wyatt's nice with
Hit
it.
this! Oh, get him out of here!
Oh my god,
like the idea-
Scream was playing for Elevate? Go back in that clip.
What a god!
The
that was
headshot
the real
rocket
scream.
machine.
This is the best game ever made, by the way. If you like Valorant, if you
No,
like
Team
Overwatch,
Fortress
try this
Classic
shit.
was better.
I mean,
Team
no,
Fortress
that
Classic
shit's
was better.
garbage.
Yes, it was. No, there's no.
I've never played it.
We're about to start a whole other
This
episode.
was really good.
Yeah.
God damn, dude! There's something so satisfying about air shots in this game that
Oh, it was
Valorant needs
great.
Valorant needs
And
to add like
Projectiles?
rockets. Yeah,
Projectile
projectiles.
rockets that
Yeah.
don't work.
Yeah. Everyone gets a showstopper. They need some kind of game mode where everybody has a showstopper.
It's shocking to me that they haven't made a game mode where you can showstopper boost yourself and it's so free.
Skills map or something. Satchels
Yeah.
and
That'll be-
showstopper.
Yeah,
That'll be
true.
the next weapon that they add, Bala. So, like, the next weapon
And
that they
Bala's
add
gonna
will be
mold
one
all
where
that.
you can rocket
just
jump.
buy a rocket launcher.
I'm sorry,
Wait,
but if they turn the
wait.
game into Quick, I'm down.
Dude,
So
go back
you can
a second.
rocket jump, and then you can swap to your secondary, which will have a scope on it.
Look at his
are you looking
name.
at?
Wait, his name. It's not that Scream was playing. It's that Wyatt was using the name Scream.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes!
No.
Yes.
Yes!
Oh.
Wyatt is Scream!
He's on Elevate.
I've never seen them both in the same room.
No wonder.
That's true,
Oh,
actually, and
dude.
they're both very attractive. You know, they're both good-looking guys. Maybe
He also hasn't
maybe
been
they've just
on
been the same
show in a
person the whole
bit.
time.
Like, what does that
Wyatt
mean?
was on Carmine this
Oh, and
entire
that's why
time.
Screams
God.
disappeared.
Yeah, and that's why the team was so bad, because they were playing with a TF2 player. They were
That's a bit rough.
well,
I have no
think-
doubt that if Banny actually played this game, he'd probably be pretty. There's some really good TF2 players that could probably be successful.
Let's get Banny to Carmine Core. That seems like a great idea. I would be hugely in favor of that. All
I'll
right
hit up
then.
the Fragile. We'll get
I'm
him
just
in.
impressed.
I
I'm
think-
mesmerized.
I think it's time for us to leave. I think
Okay.
we've overstayed our welcome here tonight. Thank you for joining us, MCE, in your workshop garage, as your father makes Christmas trees for all the small people around where you live. You do kind of. You would bang as a Father Christmas. Don't immediately, Bala. Obviously, I didn't
Call
mean that.
him by his
You
name.
keep saying some sus ass shit though.
No,
Wait, hold the fuck up.
I'm
There's
not
a really cool kill in this video that we have to show. Hold on. I'm still watching it. I think it's the clip. This clip is fucking crazy.
They're all cool kills.
Look at this shit.
Does he
my
double rock?
fuck-
Oh, it's nice.
Ooh,
That is glorious.
Damn.
Okay, we should leave before this just turns into
No,
a TF2
Wyatt,
nostalgia
I just want to play the
podcast.
whole video so Wyatt can copyright claim the entire VOD so he gets a little bit.
That's his birthday present.
Yeah,
is he
yeah,
gets
yeah.
all the ad revenue
Yeah.
from this episode.
There is
But
no ad
Bala-
revenue. Bala said fuck in the first 3 seconds.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It was like a minute 30. We're chilling.
Okay, goodbye everybody. Thank you for watching this episode. Next week, I think we're going to try to do our awards show, right? Or maybe the week after. We've got
I'm gonna
the
post
next 2
some
weeks.
shit on the internet for people to vote on stuff.
As will I.
Yeah, everyone's going to post some
I'm
shit on
gonna
the internet.
post shit on the internet.
All right, so we'll see you around for our end of year kind of wrap up episode in either next week or a couple of weeks from now. Otherwise, MCE, if we don't see you until then, Achilleos, if we don't see you until then, have a wonderful Christmas period.
Are you gonna wish
thank
me a
you.
happy
Coming on.
birthday as well?
Are you
Happy
Jesus?
birthday, Wyatt.
Yes, I am actually.
When's your birthday?
Christmas.
Really? Happy
Your birthday's
birthday
on
as
Christmas.
well.
Oh well, then a happy birthday to you too.
Damn. Well, okay, happy birthday. And with that,
Happy birthday.
we'll see you all later.